Welcome to World Alert Updates. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. The world's eyes are fixed on the West Philippine Sea, a region that has become the epicenter of a growing international crisis. Headlines across the globe warn of a crisis on the brink, as tensions escalate and the stakes grow higher with each passing day. Chinese Coast Guard vessels have been seen blasting Philippine supply ships with powerful water cannons in a show of force that has shocked the international community. In response, U.S. warships assert freedom of navigation near the Spratly Islands, sending a clear message that the world is watching and will not stand idly by. Manila protests Beijing's increasingly aggressive actions, but the standoff only intensifies, drawing in more voices and raising the risk of miscalculation. This is more than a simple territorial spat. It's a battle for vital resources, national sovereignty, and the very future of the region's stability. The Philippines, desperate for energy independence, looks to the untapped oil and gas beneath its waters, and to its longtime ally, the United States, for crucial support and partnership. Every move in this conflict is a calculated risk, turning economic ambitions and national interests into a high-stakes geopolitical chess match that could have far-reaching consequences. Filipino fishing boats are routinely shadowed by Chinese militia vessels. Even research ships are warned away from waters that have long been considered their own. These are not isolated incidents, but part of a deliberate and sustained campaign to intimidate, control, and reshape the balance of power in the region. As a result, Filipino fishermen lose access to traditional fishing grounds, threatening their livelihoods and the food security of coastal communities. Meanwhile, policymakers in Manila face a stark and urgent choice: secure the nation's future or risk open conflict. The stakes could not be higher. The country's main gas field is running dry, threatening not just energy supplies, but the economic stability of millions of Filipinos. The West Philippine Sea offers a potential lifeline, but only if the Philippines can successfully navigate the treacherous waters of Chinese assertiveness and international diplomacy. This is the story of a nation standing its ground, armed with international law, determination, and the conviction that its future lies within its own maritime borders. The world watches with bated breath, waiting to see if this flashpoint will ignite into something far more dangerous. The outcome here could reshape the balance of power in Asia, influencing the region's destiny for generations to come. The West Philippine Sea is a treasure trove of energy, holding vast potential that remains largely unexplored and underutilized. Beneath its waves lie billions of barrels of oil and trillions of cubic feet of natural gas, resources that could power entire nations for decades. According to U.S. estimates, the South China Sea's reserves reach up to 11 billion barrels of oil and an astonishing 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, enough to reshape the region's energy landscape. Chinese sources, however, claim the reserves are even greater, fueling further competition and ambition. For China, gaining control over these resources is not just about wealth, but also about national security and long-term energy independence. For the Philippines, Reed Bank, located within its exclusive economic zone, could contain more oil and gas than all of the country's current reserves combined, offering a lifeline for future generations. For Filipinos, tapping into these resources is an economic necessity, a crucial step toward energy security and national development, not just a luxury. Yet the promise of prosperity remains just out of reach, blocked by ongoing geopolitical conflict and the constant presence of foreign ships in disputed waters. The immense wealth beneath the waves could transform the Philippine economy and uplift millions, if only it can finally be unlocked and put to use. Asia's energy race is driven by surging demand from its fastest-growing economies. The Philippines needs stable, affordable energy to fuel its growth, but risks deeper dependence on volatile imports if it can't develop new sources. China, the world's top energy importer, sees the South China Sea as vital to its security, seeking to control resources and shipping lanes. Both nations' futures hinge on the same finite reserves, turning the region into a pressure cooker. For Manila, every exploration permit is a political gamble. For Beijing, every move is about securing its own future. As the Malampaya gas field depletes, the Philippines' window to secure its energy future narrows. The stakes rise with every passing day. The quest for energy is now a race against time and against each other. China's campaign in the West Philippine Sea is fought not with open warfare, but with relentless gray zone tactics. Coast Guard and maritime militia vessels swarm and harass Philippine ships, making normal activities and energy exploration nearly impossible. Incidents like water cannon attacks on supply boats are deliberate shows of force, designed to intimidate and assert control. The psychological toll is heavy, deterring investment and wearing down Filipino resolve. Manila must walk a tightrope, respond too forcefully and risk escalation, do nothing and surrender its future. It's a daily struggle to uphold the rule of law against a neighbor determined to impose its will. The Malampaya gas field has powered the Philippines for decades, but its reserves are running out fast. Without a replacement, the country faces higher prices, more pollution, and greater vulnerability to global shocks. Reed Bank is seen as the answer. Its reserves could secure the nation's energy needs for generations. But exploration is stalled by China's aggressive claims and constant interference. Every attempt to survey or drill is met with threats at sea. The fate of Reed Bank is now tied to the broader struggle for control in the West Philippine Sea. The nation's energy security hangs in the balance. The dawn of a new era is blocked by a neighbor's shadow. While the Philippines struggles, neighbors like Malaysia and Vietnam have pressed ahead with offshore energy projects despite Chinese pressure. These countries balance assertive development with careful diplomacy, reaping economic benefits even as disputes simmer. The Philippines, by contrast, imposed a moratorium on exploration, deepening its energy crisis. Now, Manila is playing catch-up, trying to restart projects in a more hostile environment. China's focus on Philippine waters is especially intense, complicating Manila's options. The U.S. alliance adds another layer of complexity. The Philippines seeks a path to emulate its neighbor's success. Without triggering a conflict it can't win alone. In 2016, the Permanent Court of Arbitration delivered a landmark victory for the Philippines, invalidating China's sweeping claims in the South China Sea. The ruling affirmed Manila's sovereign rights over resources in its exclusive economic zone, including Reed Bank. China rejected the decision, continuing its aggressive activities as if nothing had changed. For the Philippines, the ruling is the foundation of its legal and diplomatic strategy. It gives Manila the moral and legal high ground, even if there's no enforcement mechanism. The dispute is now about defending international law, not just territory. Every move by the Philippines is backed by the weight of this historic judgment. Facing dwindling energy and mounting pressure, the Philippines is taking bold steps. The government has lifted the moratorium on exploration, inviting foreign partners, especially from the U.S., to invest in offshore development. The Coast Guard and Navy are more visible, escorting fishermen and resupplying outposts with determination. Manila publicizes Chinese harassment to rally global support and expose gray zone tactics. The U.S. alliance is stronger than ever, with expanded military cooperation and clear defense commitments. New partnerships with Japan, Australia, and Europe broaden the coalition for maritime security. But attracting investment requires more than legal rights. It needs a stable security environment. The Philippines walks a fine line, assertive enough to be credible, cautious enough to avoid war. The fight for the West Philippine Sea is about more than oil and gas. It's about the nation's future, its dignity, and the legacy we leave behind for generations yet unborn. This struggle is a defining moment for the Filipino people. Achieving energy independence could mean lower costs for every household, cleaner power for our cities, and billions of pesos for schools, hospitals, and infrastructure. It's a chance to build a stronger, more resilient nation. Yet this promise is threatened by foreign intimidation, aggressive incursions, and unresolved disputes that put our resources and people at risk. The responsibility to defend these resources belongs to every Filipino, from the Navy personnel on the front lines to the students learning about our history. We honor those who have stood guard and those who will inherit this duty. The international community must support Manila, upholding the 2016 ruling and the rule of law, ensuring that justice prevails over force. Joint patrols, diplomatic pressure, and responsible investment are vital to push back against coercion and to secure peace and prosperity in the region. The world must show that might does not make right, and that international law protects the weak as well as the strong. The outcome will be decided by courage, unity, and unwavering conviction, qualities that have always defined the Filipino spirit. The stakes are immense: sovereignty, economic survival, and the principle of a rules-based order that safeguards peace for all nations. The Philippines must stand firm, so the promise of the West Philippine Sea is realized for all Filipinos, now and in the future, and not lost to another's ambition or aggression.